All right, we are live now. We're gonna be doing a live video here. Another informative interview. Here we go. Okay, here we go. We're gonna do a little live here with another Tata. Yeah, my wife. Join me.
Hi, guys.
Here we go. Well, let's concentrate on bringing the camera to her.
Hello, Papa. How you doing?
Alaikum Sara Lembo Konengo
Hi.
Sara Lembo Tata Yancy. So we
Hey.
have Tata Yancy here today, where we're gonna be doing a live interview on Palo kimbiza. But this time I also have my wife here because my wife
Hi,
is gonna
Salaki Ambote.
Salam alaikum.
my wife is
Yeah,
gonna
que sabe de
be
locutar.
asking questions about different roles that the Yaya plays. Because there's a lot of
Okay.
people, Tata Yancy, who've been asking, well, you guys talk about this and you talk about that, but you don't bring the role of the female. So I
See,
thought it would be
I
nice
always,
next time to bring a female also on the live, my wife, who's also a
I
Yaya.
always try and tell people, that Palo's about nature, and in nature there has to be balance. There has to be a feminine and a masculine. In our house, without a yai, nobody can get initiated. That idea, that concept of hey, we can light a candle and uh, call certain energies in. No, that's BS. There has to be a yai present. The yai is the one who brings in the initiate, because there has to be a tata and a yai present for initiation, you know? And in our house, women have a role. They do have a role here.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
I say that
that was gonna be my question. What is the role of a yai in your itself?
Well, we haven't even introduced
yeah,
ourselves.
Well, he started speaking.
So we first want to introduce ourselves.
yeah.
Okay, so for all of you joining in, my name is Tata Fumbe. Well, I go by Tata Fumbe. That's not my real Palo name. That's a little secret. But I'm from the lineage of Rama Brahma con Brahma. This is my wife. I'll let her introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Yaya Ilango
A
Malo.
pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And
It's
now
a
we give
pleasure.
our guest his chance to interview himself and give us a little bit of story, where he started, how he started, what Rama is. And salam alaikum to Eric that he's done
Hey,
Yeah,
here.
salam
Eric just came in
alaikum.
too.
So I'll let you
Salam
introduce
alaikum, Eric.
yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself first before we got to get
Yeah,
into the goodies.
I'm Tata Yenci Miento Malo. I was initiated over 30 years ago. The first time I got initiated into Biumba, Congo by Jose Leon. From there, I went on. I got initiated into Tata by Armando Perez of the Rama Palo, which is Kimbiza. And then he wasn't able to teach me because of my father. My father restricted it. So I went on to get initiated by Carlos Aconde, which is the La Rama Santo Cristo Guambaya Remolino de Suelto, which is my house. That's been my house ever since. And many, many godchildren after that have been initiated through my house.
And that Rama
I have
is what?
it's Kimbiza,
Yeah.
Santo Cristo Guambaya Remolino de Suelto, Kimbiza. It's out of Guanabacoa. You know, this is just the way it is.
Okay, let me interrupt you
hmm
there because you said something very interesting
hmm
that I know a lot of people are gonna be asking. Wait, can you do that? Okay.
hmm
And that is, you went from a Briyumba house and
Yep.
then went to a Kimbiza house. When a lot of people that I hear is like they want to go the opposite, from Kimbiza to Briyumba to. But I
Yeah.
know, but I'm just saying this because I know people are gonna ask.
This was something that happened because, you know, at the time I was young, I was a kid. You know, it was the decision of my parents. It wasn't my decision. Matter of fact, before even getting initiated as a Pino Nuevo, the first thing I did was I received warriors. And I received warriors through Ifa because in my house at the time, that was respected. My father afterwards became very anti-Ifa, which is not unusual with most paleros.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we tend to go against the grain.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, he ended up becoming a Babala himself
Oh, wow.
after doing Ocha. But the thing was, my father wouldn't get along with people, so he would bring people in. He'd work with them for a time, then he'd have a falling out with them, and then they'd be separated from the house and separated from everybody. So it was no good to me that was my godfather. And all of a sudden now he's no longer my godfather. Now I have to look for somebody else. And look at that as my godfather.
Mm.
You know,
So
that was the way it was.
Tata Yenci, how did you receive that calling, that knew that this was something that you were
You
supposed to
know,
do?
at the age of 6 or 7 years old, I was an altar boy in a Catholic church. We're going to Catholic school, living in Hollandale, Florida. And I remember I'm sitting outside, I'm throwing sticks in the air and watching them land. And my grandmother comes by and she goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "The way the sticks are falling, I know what's going on."
Mm.
My grandmother was like, "Whoa, this is not what we're used to." So all of a sudden, they started running. They took, my father went to un babalao, the Chino Sala, que está ahí, and got a reading. And that's when they told him, "Hey, your son's going to be very big in the religion." And that set me on my path. From there, I went through Espiritismo. You know, I got basically, went through coronations with spirits, worked a lot of Misa Blanca. And then I went on to Palo because it works hand in hand. You know, you have to have your guides, you have to have your spirits, you have to have everything in check before you decide to go anywhere. And most people don't understand that. They skip over that step. You know, I've seen it numerous times, not just in Palo, but even in Ocha, where they don't really define who your spiritual guides, your ancestors, or even those spirits that are your protectors that work with you are actually addressed. They just move you straight in to the religion, and then you're left cojo.
Mm.
Tú sabes, estás limba. No estás bien. So it's
Can you
something that
explain
I
that in
push.
English? Because we have a lot of English people that are like, what? What is cojo?
Yeah.
What is I mean, just, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
They don't turn around and they don't teach you about spirituality first. And spirituality is the basis for all of these traditions.
And you're
All
talking
these
about
traditions are
He's talking about
espiritismo.
Okay,
Yeah, but even Palo, all of them, their basis is an ancestor worship. So you have to define who your guides are, who your spirits are before you move on. And most people tend to scurry past that and avoid that. Well, that's your root. When you build a house, you build it on a strong base. That's the base.
Okay,
And most people tend to skirt it.
and when you say ancestors, are those ancestors Congo, or how can somebody who doesn't, for example, how can somebody who doesn't have a Congo ancestor then be told that they need to be initiated into one of these practices? Can you elaborate?
That there would be with the pot itself. The pot is the one that decides whether or not they're accepted in. We do not decide who gets initiated in our house. It's our spirits that decide that.
Okay, so but if
when
this
it
person
comes to
has no
their,
Congo, if this person has no Congo lineage, how is that? Because that's the question that we
there's
always have been
other,
asked.
yeah. And it's funny you say that because I've seen people, I've had people initiated in my own house that you look at them and you say, "Coño, there's no way in hell that they could have a Congo ancestor." But the spirits called to them. The spirits still called to them. They still walked with them. It's something that called to them and brought them in. And it's, I don't know how to better explain that.
Well, I'm one of
It's
them.
definitely, yeah, you know, it's something that calls to you. It flows in your blood.
Yeah.
But not everybody, that's the thing that people keep mistaking. People keep mistaking that it's all about race, that it's all about where you're born. No, it doesn't matter where you're born. The spirits will work with you depending on who you are.
And
Now,
Nokia.
I do, yeah, yeah. And don't say there's a thing here that those people they have a bad misconception. I had a gentleman that came to me to get a reading that he was supposed to get initiated in Palo. And I looked at him and I said, "Well, my spirits are telling me that you cannot be initiated here. That you have some type of a misconception, and you have some type of a confusion," is what my spirits are saying. At the time, I kept going further, and my spirit started coming to me saying, "Este tipo mangañoni." So I look at him and I go,
Oops.
bro, I'm sorry, but what is your sexual proclivity? Because my spirits are saying that that's what's stopping this from being done here. And he turned around and goes, well, I'm bisexual, but I have a child and I was married and blah, blah, blah. I said, bro, I'm sorry. I can't do anything for you. There's nothing I can do for you. I said, I can help you, send you cleansing. I can help you to tell you which path best to take. I can help you with a talisman, but you can't get initiated here. Your best bet is find somebody someplace else you can go. So of course, this person went on to Eric, and Eric also told him no, and told him I can help you with Santeria. Santeria accepts everybody. But
Santa Muerte.
yeah, but that's not what this guy wanted. This guy wanted that. He wanted to be able to get initiated in Palo because he wanted the power. So he ended up with somebody else. He paid his money. He got initiated. And he's out there doing all types of BS. But it's not correct. That's not the tradition. That's not the way it's supposed to be. That hasn't been the way it's been since the beginning. Those have never been here to be initiated. And it's not my decision, but that was the spirit's decision that said, hey, yo, sorry, no can do, you can't be here.
Can you explain as to why, again, this is an interview, right? So we know, but our viewers may not know why a homosexual may not be allowed, or is not allowed, rather. Can you explain maybe the reasoning behind it?
Yeah, but before you get into that,
our spirits...
I just want them to understand that we have nothing against their sexual preference.
No. I have
a question.
This is just the reason why, but it's not that we discriminate. It's not that we.
I would never
put them down. So
absolutely not.
It's always nice to hear what another practitioner.
It's funny because I've had the same issue where people have come at me to say, well, no, you're homophobic. No, I have a cousin who I love to death, and he's homosexual. Okay, he's been discriminated against. He's been beaten down. He's been hurt. He lives in Cuba. He's got a Ligua crown. I love him with all my heart. I have multiple goddaughters who have been homosexual. Now, mind you, I say goddaughters because I've guided them spiritually, not because they've been initiated in my house.
Right.
Okay, it's not about being homophobic. Unfortunately, these traditions are very antiquated, and these traditions, a man is a man and a female is a female. This tradition is about nature. It's about reproduction. Okay, and there has to be a balance. Male and male do not procreate. Female and female do not procreate. Male and female procreate, and that is what the spirits are stating. That the balance has to be no different than in nature. So if that isn't the case, then there's no reason to be initiated. Then they also add on that person has a confusion. That's the way that my spirits explain it. They have a confusion in their head because they're not what they were meant to be. If they were born a certain way, then what they're saying is that they have a confusion and they want to be something else. That's not my decision. That's not what I wish. I look at them and I go, well, Papa, it is what it is. What am I supposed to tell these people?
Yeah, there's people that claim that Abacoa had to do a lot with that.
It's funny you say that because Abacoa originally, it started with the Carabalí. Carabalí's bringing it to the Moors in Cuba. They were the people who watched los muelles, the docks. The Carabalí tribe. Now, the Carabalí tribe, when they started initiating people in Abacoa, they said that you had to be a good husband, a good son, a good father, a good brother. Those were the prerequisites to being a member of the Abacoa. They didn't believe in initiating homosexuals. They didn't believe in initiating women. They didn't initiate any women. They said that the women originally were the ones who betrayed them because they gave the sacred fish to the other tribe.
So all this for a fish?
I've actually heard
all this for a fish.
Betrayed, given secrets, etc. Because they talk.
Yeah.
We talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the two tribes of Ford and Efik. What happened was that the son of Efik was getting together with a girl from Efik, but they killed her brother, so she took the fish and a bunch of crazy shit. So at the end of the day, all this was over a fish. Yeah.
Maybe they were hungry.
Yeah. But the whole thing with the fish is that they actually use the skin off of the fish to create what is their ngomba, their drum.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And that was back then. You know, I don't know how they did it now in Cuba, because Cuba that fish does not exist there. Okay, and nor does any of their ceremonies exist anymore in Africa. They only exist in Cuba, supposedly, where they have their plaza, and that's where they do their initiations and whatever else. So it's really unique, you know.
So is
from
it that they changed some
standpoint.
things when they got to Cuba as well?
Yeah, they had to have. They had to have adapted. You know, again, it's the you were forced to leave your country, and you were forced to travel to another country and then bring your roots there.
Okay.
And set up your cabildos and your everything. You had to do it in a different way because now everything's different. You know?
So
I don't doubt that.
Yeah. So we talked about that. This is just an introduction, guys. So we're gonna make this video like a little bit, fast, and then we'll do like a part 2, part 3 with Tata Yenci and stuff like that, just like with Eric Colon. Now we talked about that. Now, where does kimbiza come from?
Kimbiza, Ariel Bustamante and several others. Bustamante and Andre Piti were the ones that started off Kimbiza. Andre Piti formed the house of Santo Cristo Buen Viaje out of Guanabacoa. But he came out of the La Rama de Bititi Congo Pasacaempeño, which came out of Bititi Congo Pasacara through Pinar del Rio. Okay? They came through Pinar del Rio and they ended up in Loma en Cuco and Palenques fighting the actual Spaniards when they turned. Okay?
Is that
but from there,
Mayombe, or what is that?
You know, I believe that it was Mayombe, Bititi Congo Pasacara.
Okay, so
and
you said something.
It went over.
So you said something very important that a lot of people kept asking, and I also asked Eric about that. So Mayombe does exist.
Yes, of course Mayombe exists, and I'll go further. There's secrets that have been lost because of people not wanting to share knowledge. Okay, the reason why these secrets have been lost is because elders have passed away and they've died with their secrets. Mayombe used to turn around and build a pot, not use kiyumba, not use bone to build a pot. They pull those energies in con tierra nada más.
With dirt.
Okay, with dirt. Those energies, they will pull those energies in, and that was the nganga. That those dirts, the sticks, the dirts, the stones.
So no human remains were used, or was just
nothing. Nothing. No human remains. Okay.
So that's considered to be almost like a spiritual pot.
Exactly.
Well, without giving knowledge out there, secrets. I'll shut up.
Yeah. No. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Okay. It would have been no different than a spiritual pot, and it would have been fed like an nganga. So there's a difference. You know, could you imagine that? I mean, that's to say a lot. And that you could turn around y se manifesta. It will manifest, no different than an nganga. Come on, bro. That's seriously saying something. But a lot of those secrets have been lost. Why? Because over time, people have lost them because they've died out. It hasn't been shared. That people don't want to work together. Everybody wants to talk about how old their house is and how big their house is. And I have 1,000 godchildren. But they don't want to notice that they're losing out on the biggest part, which is the knowledge.
Right.
They're losing out on the key pieces that'll move these traditions along. You know, it's sad. It really is. You know, and then you have the other ones, the scam artists that do Crazy shit.
Yes,
Initiating.
Tata Musito is giving some information because the animals gave it life. Yes, that's a secret. I'm not gonna get involved because then we're gonna have fools start
Yeah.
saying, "Well, I can make a pup myself because if I don't need, Kiyumba, I don't need
No.
this. So I'll because there's a
Of
lot of people out
course.
there making what they call ganga espirituales, spiritual parts and all that stuff. But
Yes.
it's a lot more than just a spiritual part, guys. It's a lot more.
Way more.
There's a lot more to it.
Okay.
So
where does then Kimbiza come here with this? Because if Kimbiza is born out of that, what makes why Kimbiza? Why different?
Kimbiza originally, and the way that I understood it, the way it was taught to me, was that Kimbiza was a combination. It was a melting pot. When Andre Piti started his Nganga, he built an Nganga que era Kusa. It's got tools of Ocha inside of a Kindembo, giving it those caminos of the Orisha into those Ngangas. Now, it went further than that. There's other secrets, which we'll have to talk about later, about other things that were placed in there as well. But las herramientas de santo were placed inside of the pot. Okay? Crucifixes were respected in the pot with Andre Piti. Andre Piti was a terciario. He lived together with the monks.
Yes.
He lived together with the Franciscan monks at the time. So he took pieces of different things and melded it together to form an Nganga, which after that, it's incredible the power that it has. But, when you consider everything that he put into it, there was pieces of Alacua, there was pieces of Ocha, there was pieces of Catholicism, and then Mayombe, all in those Ngangas. Then it goes further. I don't know if it's the same way in your line. I've seen a lot of houses that want to build pots and everything goes in steel. The way that they taught me, the only one that goes in steel is Sarabanda.
Yes.
Every other Nganga goes in clay or in gourds.
Yes.
That's it. But that's the way that I was taught. Then what defines it more are the firmas in the fondo canasta.
Well, before Sarabanda even got into an iron, Sarabanda was made in clay pots as well. He was made in gourds. He was made in burlap sacks. I mean, it's just
exactly.
Yeah. But how about if Centella had tratados with that? Well, you know what? I'm not gonna get into it because there might be inquisos here that are trying to find things out. So,
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I'm trying to hold myself back here.
And understand, the Nganga that I have here that I inherited from my grandfather was a Centella that came from Cuba. So yeah, there's a lot there that's mixed in, bro.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to get into, but
yeah,
I'm itching here. But I mean, there might be people here that are like, and then they use that against us or say, well, did they just say this?
Well, that's the thing. Like, what people always have an issue is they're not understanding that every Rama, every Inso has their own secrets and their own tratados.
Absolutely.
Like what you have will be different than us. What Tata Eric has will be different than us and you. We will always have something different.
The mix that
absolutely,
and the Tata of that and soul might create a little something that works for him, right?
Yes, of course. I've had so many people that I've been friends with. I've had friends from the Rama Cotalima, which they pride themselves on in polos and powders. Okay, and I learned in polos with them, making different kinds of empolo. Each Rama has their own swing on things. You're absolutely right. And working together, we can do things and build things you wouldn't believe.
Right.
But what happens is that you get the envy and the ego that gets in the middle of so much, because so many people want to be, so much bigger. Everybody wants to say, "Oh no, but I'm the Tata." No, it doesn't matter about all that.
We all should be
Aquí todos somos. Yes, we should all be together. We should all be contributing. We should all be working together.
Yes, we should all be in that sense. That history, not tratados, but history to bring out and perfect our history. Where is it that we come from?
Absolutely.
That's all. Like you said, a lot of these old tatas just took that to the grave.
Exactly.
If we all give a little
Exactly.
piece of this and this and that about history, I'm not saying about tratados. Guys, please don't misunderstand me.
But
because that's specific
no,
to
no.
your rama.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
But if we all shit out and share instead of saying, well,
But
you
even-
don't know nothing, this is the way I was
Even
told.
then.
My info is better than yours, and my info is older than yours, and my godfather is better known than yours, so that means I'm better than you.
No. And
Exactly.
that's what I was trying to say. We all have unique tratados. We all have our own ways, and that
Absolutely.
should be respected. And that's the problem that's occurring in the community is lack of respect.
Yeah. Lack of respect, lack of accountability.
Right.
Is the other thing, okay? Because back in the old days, if I had an issue with Eric, I would tell Eric, where you out? Let's meet up. And let's straighten this out.
Not over the net, right?
Not over the internet. We'll meet. Don't worry about it. We'll meet up. And then we'd meet up.
Yeah.
And we settle whatever it was.
Or either that, you had an issue with me, we go into the room and don't come out until somebody comes out, it doesn't come out. It's
That's it.
On the internet,
That's it. And it's not, hey, let me call the police. No. None of that. No, we'll settle this shit. That's the way it was.
Yeah.
But guess what? In today's society, everybody's real quick to, oh no, hold on, let me call the cops. No, man, come on, get over that. You know, this is real. This is the way it's supposed to be. But that's,
yes.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's the problem.
Salam alaikum.
That's the problem we have, you know, and people don't get it. People don't get it, that this is the way these traditions were, that they were supposed to be. You know, we had more accountability when we were being held to a higher standard. And we were held to a higher standard. You know, now in today's day and age, you got 20 paleros out there. Everybody claiming to be a tata. They don't even know how to put una firma en forno ganata. You know? So then what? You know, it's sad. It really is sad.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just the world has changed, you know. I'm in a lot of forums, and I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way. And then we'll get back to kimbiza, because we tend to like always get out, and they're saying, well, you know what? You're not African, so you don't know nothing. But then they get initiated by us Latinos.
I got only one thing to say. Kinani wakwenda munatsu Congo. If they can't answer it, they can't come in the room.
What was the question?
It's that simple. Kinani wakwenda munatsu Congo. Who are you?
Exactly.
Who are you? You step into my door and knocking? Kindiambo. Kinani wakwenda munatsu Congo.
Yo mismo tata patila mbate mundo yere mi kubuni fumbe. Wakwenda
Yeah.
kanga isinga.
Exactamente. ¿Dónde la como? We go tata Kisimalongo. You know, we turn around and we answer. But you know what? They don't know how to do that.
Well,
you know,
in other ways, they say Kendiambo. So
yeah,
Kinani is another way of saying it, because
it's another way.
Dialect changes.
Exactly. Kindiambo's one and Kinani is the other. Kinani is, where are you from? Who's your house? Tell me your lineage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if you can't answer that, what are you doing here?
There's some people that don't even know their lineage, because there's some tatas that don't give them that libreta.
Or they don't.
No.
Or they got initiated and were, you know, kept following a false lineage themselves.
Absolutely.
So you can't always get upset at those people as well, because it's up to the elder that screwed them over, gave them a pot and said, okay, now you can have your own and so, but then they have no roots to pass on.
Roots.
So where that godchild comes in and says, Tata, like, or Yaya, what inso am I from? Or what's the name of my inso? Or what Rama am I from? And he's just like searching and then doesn't know. It happens. Yeah, exactly.
That's what's necessary.
Everybody walks in with one of those.
I tell them, hey, bring your notebook.
Is that a dollar store?
Bring your notebook. Yeah. I said, if they come in the house, they don't got their libreta, what are you doing? What do you want?
Exactly.
Oh, you just want to have coffee? Not a problem, we'll have coffee. You know?
If I would have introduced you to this conversation I had last night, actually Yaya heard it, about this guy who called me, right?
Oh, wow.
That he saw the interview and he's like, Tata, He got scratching to an engagement, and at the time they gave him a pot of saravanda with a plastic skull inside.
A week later.
No wiringandos, no piringandos, nothing like that. Everything plastic, and a statue of a goon inside.
Oh, that's good. That's Coño. I saw one with a pacifier in the bottom.
What?
A pacifier.
What?
A baby pacifier in the bottom of the Inganda.
For what?
Like what?
It was a saravanda. It was a saravanda with a pacifier in the bottom. Okay. I also saw a lucero with 3 marbles.
With a what?
3 marbles.
And potting soil.
And potty soil.
Sorry.
Okay. So you get where I'm coming from. That's why I look at it and I go, hold on a second. No. This, I can't wrap my head around this. You know?
Maybe they put a fetus in there and they were putting a pacifier for the fetus.
No fetus. No fetus.
And then
No
doggy
bone.
pot.
No bone. They were doing it my own way with no bone, but they had a pacifier for the spirit.
They had to
Incredible.
pacify their Ndoki.
They're confused with
Yeah.
But anyways,
Well,
but that I'm not here to make fun of the people. But I just want
Yeah.
to bring that up to so people will see something what we're talking about. But back to kimbiza,
Exactly.
we got a little bit off the.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Back to kimbiza. So this comes from Bustamante, Ariel Bustamante, and it was what was the other guy's name?
André
Andrés
Petit.
Petit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Andrés Facundo Dolores Petit. He was definitely an individual. This guy would walk with sandals because he said he wanted to stay close to the earth and maintain himself humble. Okay? All the tatas that were with him that were the founders of the house, they were known as los mediquitos because they would walk with their bags whenever they went to an initiation.
The meningitos?
Los mediquitos, the
mediquitos,
doctors.
yeah. Okay.
Because they would all show up with a doctor's bag when they went to a ceremony. And in the doctor's bag, of course, they had all their notes, their firmas, all the stuff that they needed for whatever they were going to do. You know?
Yeah. So that's how kimbiza is born, basically.
That's how kimbiza is born.
But kimbiza, basically, what
and
you're
it was
saying-
started. And it was started because André Petit was Awakwa. And he went to go initiate whites into the traditions. And the reason why he went to go initiate whites into the traditions was because he saw the traditions were dying. A lot of the Congos and the Carabalis were illiterate. Okay?
That's
at the
another
time.
topic right there.
Okay?
The
So,
illiteracy.
That's
That's-
actually a really good one.
It's a great topic. Well, okay, they were illiterate. So he figured, you know what? If you initiate the whites knew how to write. They maintained everything in books. So he decided he was going to initiate whites. And all of a sudden now, when he decides to initiate whites, the others around him turn on him and they say, you know, you're selling us out. You're a Judas. You're selling us out for 11 pieces of silver, which is bullshit. He never did. You know, he did what he had to do to allow for the religion to keep going. And either way, the spirits were deciding that was what path he was supposed to take. So he did what he did.
So basically you're saying he was like the stepping stone for the Mundelas to enter.
Definitely.
But it was
Definitely.
more of the Spaniards. The Hispanics.
Yeah.
Spanish. Not like white.
Yeah, it was the Spaniards. It was the Spaniards.
No, but you know what I'm saying. No,
It was at the time. At the time, it was the Spaniards. Okay, but at the same time, we're talking about a little bit after that. We're having the issues with the Spanish-American War. We're having the revolution going on. Okay, at that point, Carlos Manuel de Céspedes turns around. He says, "Okay, I'm going to release the slaves that he had on his plantation," and he tells them, "Take up arms with me and fight against the Spaniards, or stay a slave with them." Antonio Maceo is in the battle against the Spaniards. Antonio Maceo was a palero. Antonio Maceo, Titan de Bronce, was a palero. And he would say that his Quindembo ate Spaniards.
Oh, wow.
So he would feed his pots, which he carried on horseback, Spaniards.
Carried on horseback.
Uh-huh.
I remember your comment in the other live where you wrote that.
Yeah. And people were like, huh? Yeah.
I'm like, I
Yeah.
think he's being literal.
Yeah. You know,
crazy.
the Mambisas were unique because think about how interesting this is. A bunch of men on horseback charging a line of musketeers with rifles pointed at them with only a machete in hand.
Wow.
And that's how they won the war because the Spaniards took minutes to reload their weapon. And their weapons weren't very accurate, but a machete never ran out of bullets.
That's crazy. Well, since Carlos walked away, let's talk about the role of a yaya, because I know we started with that, and then of course we did an introduction. Now there's a lot more viewers. So what is the role of a yaya in your inso?
A yaya in the inso is the mother in the inso. She's also the one that gives advice. She's the one that will talk to them, and a lot of times in my house, even though my mother right now is a yaya of my house, and she is a little bit more detached from the job than anything else. She doesn't really like to help as far as, being there for the godchildren. The role of the yaya in the house should be to be able to be there for the godchildren, to be able to talk to them. She's the one that organizes anything in the house. And in the inso, they're the ones that organize, because if it's left up to us, we're barbarians. We'll do everything, the way we do it. But there's gotta be a balance. There has to be a balance. You both got to be able to do everything and help and everything. The only thing that they cannot do, we do not allow them to feed four-legged animals because it can cause harm to them. Harm is in they can start bleeding out. We do not allow them to build a pot, but there's a reason behind that as well. When a woman goes to build a pot, what is a pot? A pot is basically a representation of a womb. Who fills the womb? Tata, you're here now. So, what is a pot a representation of? Pot to us, we look at it as the pot is a representation of a womb. Who fills the womb? Not a woman. It will be a man that fills the womb. A woman can still get bititi, which is the strength to build that. Because you're giving your ache by giving bititi to what's getting done. But the man is the one who puts everything into that pot.
Interesting.
Because he fills that womb and he builds that world within a world, because that's what that is. That Kindembo is a world within a world. It's a microcosm. Mm-hmm. Everything that's represented in nature and in the world is represented right there.
Yeah.
Bingo. Right inside that pot.
So what other roles do you allow for a yaya to do beyond being like that motherly figure? Is there other things that she can participate in or do, or
she helps with preparations of anything in the house. I mean, when I say anything, I'm talking about we do umiero, they can help with that. That's not an issue. We do baths, they can help with that. They can do readings. We have no problem with them doing readings. It's not like in most places where they turn around and they say, no, the only one that can read here is the Tata. Oh, no, hell no. The yaya can read if they want to. If they prefer to read, it's fine.
Hold on, let me read this. In the Batun cosmology, the woman in Africa would cook the pot and hand it
to the Nganga. Yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
Cook, like make it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. She can make the pot.
Like clay, I'm assuming is what you're meaning.
Yeah, exactly.
Who would build the Nkisi?
That would be the Tata. The Tata will build the Nkisi.
Okay.
Interesting.
No, but are they allowed, for example? So there are things that they're not allowed, which obviously, her and I know.
Four-legged animals.
The what?
Four-legged animals. That is one thing that I turn around and I tell all my goddaughters. I said, you cannot do sacrifice with four-legged animals.
And obviously cut the ceremony.
And initiation.
Right.
Exactly. There it's the Tata again who initiates. Even though I've heard many houses where now apparently women are initiating too. Just like they're initiating gays, now women are doing initiations as well.
Interesting.
Well, now this is
not in my house, but hey.
That I heard out there too is that a female cannot own an insasi nor a female can own a sarabanda.
Why?
that's something that, it's that I heard and I read from other writers out there, and I was like, that
Okay,
is ridiculous. But
give me a reason why.
that's why they
What?
said
Because
it's like they cannot own that because those are masculine energies that are too much from them. What is your
no,
idea on that?
I don't believe that's true. Because if that spirit walks with her, that's the spirit that she's born with. It's one of her guías espirituales. Has a path de Sarabanda or of Insasi. Why would you not build that for her? You're gonna leave her. You're gonna leave her, limp and not correct. That's not right.
So I'm gonna answer.
Just like
Go ahead.
Yeah, just like I've heard that women shouldn't have a centella. I've heard that as well.
Yes.
Why not? Why shouldn't they have an Uganda?
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Even Guru Finda.
Yeah.
Guru Finda has a lot of treaties that women got to be careful. They can't walk underneath it. Okay. But there's no reason why a woman can't attend to it. My godmother, she had a Guru Finda. That's what she dealt with up until the day she passed away. I can't say that she was ever wrong.
Well, if that's the case, Tata Eric in the last interview said about a tribe of females that hung the gourds out in the thing. That's the representation of. So that's what I'm saying. So many people misinforming in books, and then it's like, why did the old people do it? Why? Go ahead.
May I interject? Who is Guru Finda, right? Guru Finda is the owner of all the plants. So Yaya works with the plants. Does she not make medicine with the plants?
Absolutely.
Everything that we do is about nature and Guru Finda. Guru Finda is like the biggest, most important,
everything.
Right? In essence,
yes.
I'm being cautious, right? Guru Finda is also Lucero. So you're telling me that they cannot be working with that energy? Because where does Lucero live?
It's different than Lucero.
Don't worry about it.
Because Lucero doesn't only live in the woods. Lucero lives in the woods. He lives everywhere.
Exactly.
He's all the paths. But Guru Finda is more an entity of nature. It's everything that is nature. If you looked at it from a Santero standpoint, it'd be Osine.
Different world.
Even that
different.
I get it. Though.
Yeah.
Well, even that with let me into
it's on.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a lot of paleros out there. They don't even call it Guru Finda. They call it Osine. Yeah,
I've seen that too, which doesn't make sense to me. But you want me to tell you something? When you look at Osine or Ifa, what do they use to move it? Una firma.
Claro.
Okay, that's what ajinetas are. Ajinetas are firmas.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't only use them for Osine, they use them for every one of the Orisha. That's another question altogether, right?
Yeah.
My point is, without getting into secrets, is are we not working with plants? When that female is making that masa mamba, is she not working with plants? That's coming from Gupinda, right? So that's where I always laugh. I'm like, these restrictions, these creation. In the end of the day, in my opinion, they're man-made rules. I
agree.
But
there's some that are not. There are some that are not. For instance, and I'll tell you this because I've seen the other side of that. I've had goddaughters that have tried to come to me and tell me, Tata, why are we not allowed in front of the Nganga if we're menstruating? And I tell them, I go, because the Nganga eats blood. Okay? And if you're bleeding, you can become food. Okay? Now, I saw this with my sister. My sister didn't know that she had her period or whatever. She walked into the Enso Nganga and walked out. She bled for 3 months straight, like it was her first day. Okay? When she finally came out of the embarrassment and decided to tell us that she was still menstruating, we had to run and do a ceremony at the foot of a ceiba to turn around and save her con una carnera. Because the spirit was eating.
I've heard of stories like that. I have.
I got to see it firsthand.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, we had to back that spirit off and change that. And it was difficult. We had to know what we were doing. But you see all different types of things in this path. I don't deny, if a woman comes to me and they tell me, look, hey, I have the menstruation. I tell them, okay, we won't do the reading in front of the Nganga. We'll do it someplace else. We'll sit down and we'll do a reading to see what's going on. But I will not put them in front of an Nganga if they're menstruating. You know, that's on their own. It's on them. If that happens on my watch, you know.
I'm laughing at what Eric is writing, putting his wife putting her hands where it didn't belong. Maybe that muerto's like, get your dirty hands off of me. I say that respectfully.
No.
Sorry.
Let's talk about this.
Oops.
Where the name Siete Rayos, where every pot they make out there, they call it a Siete Rayos. Every pot that has the energy for Sarabanda. We know that todo Nganga son mismo lucero, yes?
Yeah. Todo Nganga son mismo lucero.
That's why my wife was referring to when she said Goronfinda mismo lucero, right? I just want to clarify that because I don't want him to say, why did she say Goronfinda? You know, but I'm just clarifying. Todo Nganga son lucero, right?
Okay.
Means that they have tratados of lucero, yes?
Of course.
Tratado de los
That's in the firmas.
When we do the Tempo 1 and Tempo 2 and Tempo 3 and Tempo 4 at certain hours, right? We're working with the vientos lucero, right?
Of course, of course.
So that's why I want to clarify. Now, why is it that they make a pot, but nowadays they're not giving that name to the pot and then they just, like for example, en Saura la Grande. Example, what's it called? Sacra Empeño, whatever. Those names that those pots receive, but nowadays we're calling it just Siete Rayos and Sasi, and they don't give those names to those pots like they should.
I'll go one step further. Yes. And this is something that I've dealt with for a long time. I was taught different. I was taught to use, tú vas a sacarle la firma a la Nganga, le saca la firma a la Nganga y sacas el nombre.
Of course.
Okay. Cuando se va a montar. No hay dos Nganga igual, no hay dos firmas igual, no hay dos nombres igual.
Because you would say that in English because this is like for English speaking people.
And I understand.
The way I was taught, when you build an Nganga, no two firmas are the same, no two names are the same. And you pull that right before you build an Nganga. So in other words, I might have San Bruno Sasi Kiyumba Sagampeño Batalla en Gulufinda. And you might have San Bruno Sasi Choca Hueso con Hueso. Pisa firma arriba de Nganga. But they're both in Sasi, but they're not the same in Sasi.
Of course, and they're built different.
Bingo. They each have their own differences.
So why are these tatas online? And I'm not throwing at you, Eric. Don't think I'm throwing at you. Destroying Ngangas and saying that it's built wrong. If they all have different tratados.
Remember that, and that's the thing that each person needs to know, that there are different tratados in every house, and you've got to respect each person the way they build it. So once you look at it, now, if they're building it with marbles and pacifiers,
that's different.
That's wrong.
That.
Or no fondo
okay,
canasta.
We know that's wrong. No fondo canasta. That's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay? But when it comes to names and firmas, you have to respect that. You have to respect that.
Yeah, because that's this Tata. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's kind of famous for breaking pots and say this firma is wrong. This doesn't have all the stuff that a pot's supposed to do. The pot probably didn't have to have that because it has a different tratado. It doesn't go within your Sila Congo, yes?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm also learning.
I mean, the only thing that I can add to that is if a Pati Pemba has no camino, at that point, that Tata or Yaya can point that out and say, there's no camino. Or the way the firma is written, if it doesn't show that it doesn't make sense. Like we've seen people come, we see people come.
I've seen ones
where they have a name, and then they bring their firma, and they do not match.
No,
that's in my
you're absolutely right.
Incorrect.
Like in the firma, there's an Ngonda, right? But you don't see an Ngonda in the firma.
Where's Ngonda?
I've seen a firma that a guy did that looked like an antenna, like a TV antenna, with no X's, no O's. Okay, no cuatro vientos, no nothing, just lines. Okay, and I looked at the guy who showed me this, and I said, "Man, this might be good for TV, but this is not good for real life."
That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, I know we're kind of tiptoeing around our words and we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but we need to also be real. If there's no camino, that is or that patipemba is not cuenda.
Absolutely. But, you know, it won't only show on the patipemba. It'll show even further when you start looking at fondo canasta.
Yes.
Okay? Because when you start looking at fondo canasta, there's going to be stuff that's missing. The basic ingredients in a fondo canasta, gold, copper, silver, mercury, bone, those are basic ingredients. Those are basic ingredients, and 90% of the time, those are missing. How about the coins that we put at the 4 points? Stuff like that should be known. Is it known and is done incorrectly?
Yeah, lo anzuelo, the fishing hooks, and I mean, a whole bunch of things.
All of it. You know, this is all tratados that, you know, once you see that that's not done, the person doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Okay? And at that point, it should be an issue of, you should be able to turn around and tell that person, okay, you know what, I don't want to keep looking at this. Bring me that person here. Bring me that tata here. Because I want to ask them, you know, hey, where did you learn this? Because this is wrong.
Oh, they're learning from a book on the internet where they put a firma and they just copy the
That's
firma.
bullshit. I could read to you Lidia Cabrera. Lidia Cabrera turned around and she wrote a book where she said that Cholawengue is built with pig shit.
With what?
I'm sorry.
Pig
what?
shit.
Pig shit.
Pig shit.
For
Inside of
Cholawengue.
Chola. Uh-huh.
Get the fuck out of here.
Eric's just doing joke after joke. I put Harry Potter
I'm sure.
Death Eater 1. I was going to crack a joke yesterday because I was watching Harry Potter with my kids and I said I was taking notes.
All right.
That's nuts.
That's ridiculous because if that part,
It's the stuff that you see.
if that part represents you, I mean, that represents
now
your
you
path, your spirit. If you put in picture on it, that's what you're doing to yourself.
Exactly.
That's what I thought that's doing.
Exactly.
You're shitting on you.
Well,
But-
that's a destroyed
So
thought.
now,
Simple as that.
so now they
Might
read
as
it.
well
They
just
read
read
it in a book. They read it in a book from a legitimate author, but it's full of shit. You know, it is what it is.
But I mean, in
You
the
know?
book, Lidia Cabrera also mentions, understand that some of the start to hide their secrets and they'll just lie to you. What might think to be
Absolutely.
a lie is the truth, and what thinks to be the truth is a lie.
Yeah.
She stated that in her book. So anybody who's going through and reading, you know, the book of El Monte by Lidia Cabrera, and that's their little Bible, that's what they go from. It's not right.
You see where I'm coming from. But
And
then
that's what a lot of
let's
these
go with.
tatas did. They saw this book and they read it, it's like, oh, I got all the secrets now. Let me start doing the way this book says, because that's the way it should be.
Bro, let's face it. A lot of these books, I mean, hell, if we read the old Canizares, we'd all be butchers, bro. Because the cut marks that they have with all the blood and everything, no, all that. You know, that's not the way it is. That's not the way this religion is. But that's the problem with today's society. Today's society, everything's at the internet. You press a button and you get all this information, and then all of a sudden, now I'm going to use that. I'm going to do this because I can do it. No, you weren't taught how to do that. You weren't taught how to do it correctly. And unless you had the proper teaching, you shouldn't be doing any of that.
So here's the question, going back to kimbiza, because the interview is about kimbiza too, right? But all of kimbiceros out there, so they have a little bit of more knowledge on their history. What makes kimbiza different? We already understood that it has Cristo, it has the tratados abacuao, stuff. But what is it that makes kimbiza what kimbiza is actually?
Kimbiza is a conglomeration of multiple traditions. You know, in essence, it's Palo. It's Palo and it's nature-based, but it's a conglomeration. It's a mixture of Ocha and Palo and Espiritismo and Abacua, all this all together. You know, and the proof's in the pudding. The way that it works, you know, I've seen it for the last 20 years that I've been initiated here. I've seen how it works and how it walks, you know. And it's funny because we were talking about before how, you know, they would turn around and they go to feed an nganga, a rooster, and the rooster will be asleep on top of the nganga.
Yes.
I do that every time I feed. I don't only do it with a rooster. I've done it with roosters. I've done it with goats. Hell, I've done it with crocodile, with alligators. You know, where you see that, you're like, whoa, hold on. Yeah, it happens. But you got to know what you're doing.
The reason why I'm asking, because there's a lot of lineage out there that are dogging down, putting kimbiza down so much because of the mixture, but they don't understand that at the end of the day, but you know, for me, it's, I always say at the end of the day, what it matters is resultados.
That's it. Es la maña.
Especially if you're working with somebody that you give result to that person, because you can be
exactly
all this knowledge and all this stuff in your ganga, in your pot might not give resultados. And here you go, you got a great mayumbero, but then this person goes to a kimbicero and boom, out of nowhere, boom, it happened. Es la maña.
Yes, that's absolutely it. Es la maña.
The spirit within the person, you know.
Yes.
Some people.
But that spirit is what brings that maña that he's talking about.
Yeah.
It's the manner in which you're able to work. That's maña. And you know, not everybody understands that. That's the key to this. You know, we all have our own little book of tricks because of not because of what we've been taught, but what our spirits have taught us, and our spirits working through us.
Yep.
That's the key right there.
Now, are the mambos from kimbiza different from the mambos of the other lineages? I mean, ramas?
You know, I have in my book that I have, in my notebook.
The one that
not the book that I. No. In my notebook, the notebook that I have, yo tengo mambos ahí, viejísimo. So I think they're very similar. You know, what the máquina vapor and, you know, which ones? Lumbe. Those were all. Yeah, they're all similar. You know, a lot of them are used for puya.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Buena noche.
Yeah. Kumpara, buena noche, ¿cómo está usted?
Okay. So they're the same then mambos and stuff. Because a lot of people claim that the mambos are so different from kimbiza and stuff. I don't deal with kimbiza. I don't practice kimbiza. But it's good to know the knowledge. It's good to know the history because it ties in with an art history too. At the end of the day, it's history. Yes.
I had a guy. I went to un juramento in Opalaca one time, and I had a tata that was there. Funny story, because I had a guy that came to get a reading with me, and I told him he wasn't going to get initiated with me. I told him he was going to get initiated with his friend that was sitting outside, un blanquito de ojo azul.
Mundele.
And I told him he was going to, and I told him he was going to get initiated with his wife. And he goes, I'm in a fight with my wife. There's no way in hell that ever going to happen. I said, well, that's what the muerto says. I guess I don't know nothing. Yo me limpio con el muerto. You know? 3 weeks later, he calls me up and he's getting initiated in Opalaca. And his tata, who wanted to be a big tata, decided to throw una puya. And he said, máquina vapor. Santo Cristo ya no puede, máquina vapor. Sarabanda, quien te jala. Y yo me le viré y le dije, en tiempo de tomate, todo mundo cocinero. Todo mundo cocinero, todo mundo cocinero. Cuando no hay tomate, yo cocino con la red. Yo cocino con la red, yo cocino con la red. And he turned around, and his tata that was there went, Tesio. Now, mind you, I became friends with other houses at that point in time there. There was Cotalimas there. There was one of the guys from another house that worked directly with Ndoki was there as well. You know, we all worked together. So automatically they pulled me to one side and say, "Oh, don't worry about this guy. He's just trying to be big Billy Badass in his first initiation." And this is what he's getting. First initiation, he wants to be the big tata on the mountain. And, you know, and I didn't want his godson. You know, I didn't want anything. In fact, I told his godson that he was going to get initiated with him. He should be happy about that. You know?
Now listen.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The funny part is that at the initiation, there was his wife and the other guy. You know?
Now, I'm going to ask you a question that a lot of people ask me, okay? Because when I always put like, hey, you know, I'm going to do an interview with Eric Colon, I'm going to interview with this person, Tata Yenci. I believe Sunday there's an interview that I'm doing with this guy on Tata Tata Oba, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's gonna talk about Briumba. Now, I also invite, if you guys have that knowledge and you want to be a part of this, just message me and we could schedule an interview. Okay.
Yeah.
Even if we had our differences, I'm here because when it comes to
Yeah.
shared knowledge, we are here. So even if we have our differences, if you want to be
Brother,
part of this, please message me.
I don't have differences. I
Yeah.
don't have differences with nobody.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I've been in this too long. You know, most of my enemies are no longer here. They're no longer around. I'm not worried.
Maybe with Zendaya.
Yeah, yeah. They crossed la línea calonguera. I'm good.
Now, a question that I always been asked, and I asked this many times, but it just doesn't cross my mind. And you said something and it just clicked about that question was, let's say you are from your Rama, right?
Yeah.
And here comes somebody from Mayombe, Ayaya, that wants you to scratch this person, right? Does that person still have lineage of Mayombe since a Tata from Kimbiza scratched them?
You know, where did they get scratched? Did they get scratched on my part or hers?
Hers.
Because I've worked the ceremony in Orlando for Christy, which is a good friend of mine. I love her to death, Tiene Chango Coronao, and she is initiated in a Mayombe house out of New York. And the initiation that I did was for her goddaughter that she was crowning in Ocha. I initiated her in Palo. Okay? She is not part of my house. She's part of Christy's house.
Because
she was initiated on Christy's pot. Bingo.
Okay.
Bingo.
So a Tata from Briumba or a Tata from other thing could, for example, go to a Mayombe house. But if that Tata doesn't have the tratados a Mayombe,
that has to be understood. You know, you understand? If, let's say, not saying this is the case, if you were to call me and tell me, Mira, Tata, can you give me a hand? I'm doing these initiations. And I would have come out and helped you. You would tell me, okay, this is the way I want this done. This is the specifics on how I do it in my house. Okay, not a problem. This is the way I do it in my house. Let's work together.
Okay.
You know, there's got to be an agreement. There's got to be an accord. You know, there has to be.
Okay, but
I don't think that would be an issue.
Okay, let's say there's a Mayombe pot. That person got scratched in their Rama and received that pot. And then they called you, for instance, right? And you're kimbiza. You go to the Yaya's house and say, all right, I'm going to initiate, let's call this person Jose. What becomes of Jose? Is he kimbiza in your eyes, or is he Mayombe?
Jose is Mayombe. Jose is Mayombe. He is a part of that house. He was born of that pot. Okay? That's the way I look at it. He was born of that pot.
Okay.
Okay? Because you're not born out of thin air. The pacts that you make are with those spirits that are in that pot.
Okay.
When you're initiated.
Okay. So it doesn't matter then if that Tata has no tratados on Mayombe.
No, I don't think it's an issue. I don't think it'll be any issue. In fact, when my father was initiated on Yara Chaputin's pot, which was Santo Cristo en Viaje. One of the tatas that was there was Carlos Aleón. Pero Felito Carnicero was the one who scratched my father. And he wasn't de Santo Cristo en Viaje, he was Briumba Congo. But my father was Santo Cristo en Viaje. You understand?
Yes.
Where was he born? Out of her pot. That's where his minga ran, was in her pot. Yes.
Because the way we were explaining, and I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong, that's why we get other opinions, is that, for example, if you want to join a lineage, a Brahma con Brahma, for example, right?
Yeah.
The Tata himself who scratched you has to have tratados a Brahma con Brahma because of the rezos, right? The licencia that they have to say.
Okay.
The way we scratch in the mambos that we sing, because Brahma con Brahma has its own mambos, right? That's in our Rama, right? So that Tata has to have that recognition. If not, that Tata has to have the tratados given to him, even though he might feel from another house.
Bingo.
Say now you have the tratados of Brahma con Brahma, now you can scratch on Brahma con Brahma.
Exactly. So there has to be some type of an agreement, some type of an accordance made in this situation.
Okay.
Because how many times, and I'll give you an example. This has happened in the past, where let's say, God forbid, knock on wood, your wife, you and your wife are together, but you pass away. Your wife ends up with your pot, and there's still godchildren coming to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What does she have to do?
Either get the bakunfula, the mayordomo of the house, if they're there,
Mm-hmm.
yes. But
if they're there, but if they're not there,
okay. But the thing is this: if the female is not allowed to scratch, like I said,
mm-hmm.
it's two opinions, not an argument, right? If a female is not allowed to scratch, she doesn't know those tratados. How can a female pass those tratados to the tata?
Exactly.
Does it make sense, or
it makes sense?
Okay.
Well, what he's
It makes
saying
sense.
is,
It makes
I'm in a
complete sense.
bind and I need someone to do it.
She's in a bind. Exactly.
He's saying,
So
what
now,
would happen in
what does she do?
Is that cuenda?
Yes, but can the female give that tratados to that tata?
No,
the tata's
no,
not there anymore. That's what I'm trying to say.
No.
So
I
at
think
that
you
point, you're aligned with
misunderstood.
God.
He's just saying, like, what would happen, let's say, if I didn't have a tata to scratch on top of our pot, right?
Yes.
So he's saying, if I was to call him, is that cuenda? Because he's in kimbiza.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to. Yes, I understand that new Pinot Nuevo in Gayo is being born off the pot. So he's born on the Brahma con Brahma, but I'm saying, how does that work if that tata does have to have that licencia for Brahma con Brahma?
That's what we're
there would have to be an accordance somehow made.
Okay.
Because there had to have been other points in time where this has happened.
Yeah.
Well,
I've seen it happen.
It happens all the time.
I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what happens is the house dies off.
Yes. So that's why, like I said, in Cuba, they go by a different system, right? Where they say, oh, you're from the Changani, it doesn't matter. Come over here, we're friends, we're in the same, on the same street here. Let me give you some tratados of my Rama. So you can.
Absolutely.
Right. So Eric says something. Eric said, you are born from the Inquisi that receives your minga.
There you go.
Yeah, we understand that, Eric, that you are born. But the question was,
receiving the tratados.
Receiving the tratados. Can a tata from Kimbiza go and then say, well, I'm going to scratch in my yombe without having that knowledge of that Rama?
They'd have to have the accords. They'd have to understand the accords that are made.
Yeah.
There's complexities that have to happen behind the scenes, I think,
Of course,
I totally respect, both sides of, how we come up with this rationale. Because that
and I've like I said,
confused.
I've seen this numerous times.
So
and
it cannot be different. Exactly, it cannot be different.
There you go. That's
they cannot be different.
So, because
they have to be exact.
So they have a cut and marking different, and then some other houses don't even cut the same. They do it different. So the cut is what makes those tratados too, or do they not?
Absolutely.
So if you want to come and scratch here in Brahma con Brahma because I'm ill or something, I have to tell you, hey, this is how we cut.
Exactly.
This is what makes Brahma con Brahma. And this is the prayer that we're saying, right? Or the licencia that we say when we are about to do. Because to give licencia to those elders from Brahma con Brahma, so those baculos that came before us, those elders also recognize that. And also, yes, I understand when the menga goes on the pot, so that enfumbe fatu, right? Yeah. Fatu, that menga. Maybe I'm asking the question the wrong way.
I understood him. I think we're
No, I understood it.
Yeah.
I know. I get it. It's understandable. The cuts have to be the same.
Okay, Mayombe has its marking, but Kimbiza has similar cuts. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. See.
Yeah, I think the tratados aren't that different.
Yes. So the transition can be different. Because see, the word he used, right? And this is what I'm saying. He says, Mayombe has its marking, but Kimbiza has similar. Similar is not the same. Similar means almost the same.
But you have to be on.
Exactly.
So you have to receive those tratados from that.
Yeah, you have to have the understanding.
So, because what you're telling me is, this is the way I understand it. If the way I understood the way you first explained, that's what confused me, right? So I'm from a different rama. He's something happened there. I'm from a different rama, right? And then somebody hires me or wants me to do an enkimba to a something with Santo Cristo en viaje kimbiza. If I don't have those tratados, if I don't have that knowledge, then is that correct for me to go to a kimbicero's house? Because they don't have a tata and scratch in kimbiza. That's what I'm asking.
I think the video froze.
I think it's video froze. So if you can just call us back.
Hold on. Let me see. Right?
Yeah, it did.
Oh, he left. Okay. Should we try it again?
No, he could join us again.
Oh, he can call? Okay.
Yeah, he could.
Are you guys still there? Just like write yes and
Yeah.
all right, there we go. I'm gonna see something.
Let me see, maybe.
Invite. Sorry.
Okay.
It's brujeria. All right, everybody here.
No sé, es que no sé ni con qué limpiarlo. Hold on. You got me on the prayer.
Y dale bota abajo. Hola.
Wait, there's some question there. And the same you told us the other than AI is assisting the other ceremonies. Well, there's a question here. Can the same be done with yayas, as in yayas assisting in the other ceremonies from another house or rama?
I've never found it wrong. I've seen it as fine. Yeah. There's no issue.
Yeah, I mean, you're just gonna tell the yaya, this is the way I do it. Can you please walk in
exactly
this way? Hold it, do
exactly.
Yeah. You kind of flow. You kind of flow with what the tata wants.
Absolutely. You know, and I think that's one of the biggest issues. A lot of this is there's miscommunications between the different houses, where if the houses were able to communicate better and form alliances, this stuff would be so much easier and would flow so much better.
You said it. And don't if an alliance, if we work together and help each other, then we could help each other in in other ways. Absolutely.
And then also to add to that question about the yayas.
Eric said to me about el batón de muerto de André Petit. André Petit had a batulú, a batón de muerto that he had taken to the Vatican. It was blessed by the Pope. This gives you an idea. I mean, how far this guy went. That was the story behind his batón de muerto. It was actually blessed by the Pope.
So he took it to the Vatican, and then the Pope blessed it.
Blessed his
batón. Holy
water on it. Yeah. Poured holy water and blessed by the Pope. So that was the story behind it. Batón de muerto de André Petit. That he took it that far to actually have the Pope bless his batón de muerto. But, you know, those are all stories, though. You know, I don't know whether that was factual or real. You know, I don't know. I don't know.
You guys use the teja with your pots?
No. I don't have a teja. I never had a use for a teja with the pots.
Because there's some other tatas out there, you know, and there's a tata that I follow and I respect a lot that did a video on the teja. That the teja actually comes from Palo. And actually, there's another lineage, Briumba con Mayombe, Mayombe con Briumba, that also gives a teja out. Do you have any knowledge on the teja? Or just
Briumba.
Eric
is saying that's Briumba.
Oh.
Yeah, that's Briumba. I've heard that teja is it leans more towards Ifa than it does towards Palo. But, you know, again, with all the stuff that Ifa took from Palo itself, you gotta know the history.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? Without
the original
secrets.
The original enslavers of Africa were the Yoruban tribes. Okay? They conquered most of Africa. And by conquering them, they would assimilate whatever knowledge they had and take it into their tradition. Okay? Hence why Ifa has Gurunfinda. Hence why Ifa has Orun. Hence why Ifa has Egungun pots. You know, this is all stuff that was Palo. It wasn't
100%.
It wasn't Ifa.
100%.
So then, you know, you look at it, La Teja, it's very possible that it was Palo. It's possible. I don't do it in my house. I never understood that way. But I can't say no, that it's not true. Because there's so much that was taken by Ifa.
You're right, because I have read and I have researched that the Congo cosmology existed before Ifa, and Ifa has literally borrowed, or whatever word you want to use, knowledge from the Congo cosmology that doesn't give credit.
Appropriated. They were the colonizers. They were the colonizers. Yes.
Yes, Chamo, he spoke about that in the beginning of the video about Osan and the freedoms they have. Yes. Roof.
Yeah, someone was asking what's a teja. It's basically those clay roof tiles that you see.
Yeah.
Especially like those, you know.
But that's supposed to represent
like Spanish-looking homes.
That's supposed to represent your gungun or your spirits. What purpose does it have in a pot?
In the pot?
Or with the pot? What purpose does it have with the pot?
Yeah, the story that was told, it was a shield or a way to protect that pot as well. It's like an extra protection, like a shield. Like
if someone is trying to do like malice to a person's pot, you put it in front to shield it.
Okay.
This is something that we've read.
Yeah, and that's something that also a book from Mayume Beyum, I'm not going to say the name of it because I'm not advertising the book, but that just recently came out that also explains about that teja. This is something that their Tatani also from that Rama explains about that teja.
Yeah, like a shield, exactly. It's kind of like when a person goes to war, they have their sword and then they have a shield. Essentially, that teja is prepared to become a shield for their weapon. And the weapon, or themselves, right?
Why not?
Right?
Why not prepare gandiles or guardianes?
Yes, but
instead.
Yeah, but like I said, that's the.
I'd rather have something that fights back than just sits there with a shield. I'm sorry, I don't know. It's just, I don't get it.
Well, that's why we have the Mbele as well. But any more questions?
Well, I'm seeing a lot of questions here coming in. There's a lot of questions. You know, there was one question I wanted to touch upon, if you guys don't mind.
Yoruban ancestry and Congo ancestry.
Sorry?
They have one here now going. They have one here that I'm looking at that says Yoruban ancestry and Congo ancestry were at odds. Yes, they were. The Yoruban ancestry, they were the enslavers. They were the ones that went out and conquered most of Africa and enslaved most of the tribes of Africa. They enslaved the Karabali. That's not spoken about.
I'm coming to. If this was taught in school, there will be not much hatred. Because everybody
exactly
the Mundele.
Well, but the Mundele weren't perfect. They weren't perfect, but the first ones
European, the Mundele.
Yeah, no, I know. They weren't perfect, but they weren't all to blame. Okay, we got to look at the history, and we got to look at the situation, and that's what they're not understanding. And it's real easy to, in ignorance, blindly say, no, all these people are wrong, than it is to turn around and say, hey, hold on a second, let me do my research and find out what happened.
Their own ancestors was the one that slaved and sold them.
Let's look a little bit different. Let's look at the Taínos in Puerto Rico. When the first people that got to Puerto Rico were Spaniards and libertos, which were free black men. The Spaniards were using the black men to hunt down the Indians, the Taínos, and they would bash the children in the streets. Okay? There's stories of them, of the libertos grabbing children by their legs and smashing them against the ground. Okay? When they ran out of Indians and they wanted to enslave, the Spanish wanted to enslave the Indians to do the work for them. They turned on the Libertos and they made them slaves. When they got to Cuba, the black men were already slaves. When they got free from the Spaniards, they'd run up into the hills in La Loma and Cucu, into the Palenques, and get together with the Taínos or the Cacique or whatever tribe was there to learn the indigenous plants and the indigenous medicine. There was trade of information between the Indians and the Congos.
But that is not in the history books. They just say everything comes from Africa.
Absolutely.
They don't give credit to the Taínos for being a part of this practice.
Dude, huge part.
Dude.
Huge.
Dude, you want to laugh?
African learns about the Nkudia.
Where did barbecue?
Learn about the herbs, because those herbs were
Yeah.
from Africa.
Where did barbecue come from?
The what?
Barbecue.
I don't know that. That's something I
Barbacoa.
can share with us.
Barbacoa. Taino word. Smoking meats. They would smoke meats with herbs and spices to cure them because the Taino traded in smoked meats.
Interesting. Hey, we learned something.
And here we're using, we go out and we go, hey, let's go have some ribs, let's have some barbecue. We don't know where the word came from.
I'm getting hungry. I want ribs.
Yeah, it's history like that has to be shared.
Absolutely.
Let's give credit
Absolutely.
to those Taínos, because Taínos are not mentioned in this practice. It's all about they say croyo, but explain yourself.
Yeah.
Why
There's a lot of make sure that
say thanks to this. That means that Taínos are part of the ancestry too. They don't even mention that.
Absolutely.
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 It's all about Africans and Congos, but what happened to the Taínos?
No, exactly. There's so much that's been lost. You don't know, if you go back in history, you don't know where it begins and where it ends. There was so much informational trade between the Congos and the Taínos and the Congos and every other tribe that there's no way to say, hey, this word began with the Taínos or that word began with the Congos. That's sad. You know, if you ask, there's a girl on here, I don't know if she's here tonight, a Akashic astronaut. She's done a lot of research, and it shows the language and where the words came from. That some of these words, they're not Congo, they're Taino of lineage.
Ukuyu.
You
Yes.
know? Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, is other people are taking all this credit. Oh, que lo cubano, que lo africano. What about the Taínos?
Exactly.
And like I said in the other video with Eric,
I'll go further.
even the Mayans were in Cuba.
Mm-hmm. The Mayans were in Cuba. Let's go one step further. If you turn around and you ask a Cuban, ¿todavía hay indios en Cuba? They'll tell you, oh no, the Spaniard killed off all the Indians. Bullshit. There's still Indians in the east side of Cuba, en el Oriente. And they don't know about that. People don't know about that. They were the Guajiros. They were the ones that were living out in the woods.
Mm.
You don't know about it.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Our history is just not wrong to us.
Absolutely.
You know, that thing that you said about the slavers, the American history is not wrong.
Well, let's go further. World War II. Cuba gave money to the U.S. to fight in World War II. They gave gold and silver and coins to the U.S. to help fund the war effort. That's not spoken about here.
It's not.
So remember, history is written by those that have the money or those that win. It's not written by everybody else. It's not talked about. And history books here, forget about it. There's too much stuff that's abridged.
Sorry, she wants to come on the video.
She wanted to be in the video.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. So What is there else before we end the video?
I had a question and it slipped my mind. It was a good one too.
Do you want to answer some of the questions?
Go ahead.
In the comments. Because there's a lot of questions there that we haven't. We don't try to ignore them.
I saw one that said that it was the Yoruban ancestry and the Congo ancestry were at odds, and I said, yeah, it was. They were conquered by Yorubans. I don't know what else. What other questions there were there? It's just been so many. There's been so much conversation.
There has been. There was a good question on my mind, and I can't believe it slipped.
And I
guess it'll be
the
part two.
significance of using jicaras in the clay pots.
Yeah, with the Tainos, yeah.
Of course, the Tainos used to hang guiras up in their inside of their huts that held human remains. They were worshiping their ancestors in that way, in that form.
Exactly.
And that to us is no more than a gurufinda, or what we would consider a gurufinda in my house. It's built in a gourd usually, not usually in a pot.
Yes.
And it's hung.
Yes, and the thing is, could it be that that's why they got the idea of the Kiyumba and the Afumba inside the pot through the Tainos?
It's a possibility, but it goes further back. Remember, we have what you call the Iyami Soronga. The Iyami Soronga were three witches that kept the priest of Ifa in line. They had gourds that were hung out in the woods, which they would whistle to. Okay? And the birds would come to attack the Ifa practitioners that weren't practicing correctly.
Oh, interesting. I have a question, very out of context, but it might be good. Collar de banderas. Do you have kind of like
Mine's different.
Background, share the background of where that came from and why people wear it?
The way I was always taught is the collar de bandera is personal to the house. It's that necklace that shows that you're a tata or a yaya in the house. Our collar de bandera has all the past of all the Inkisi on there. It has rooster spurs. It has pennies, Indian nickels, pieces of bone, boar tusk. But it's not that generic stuff you get in the Botanica, which is, the Santo colors and just a piece of chain. It's got the 21 tools.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
What your thoughts on that? Yeah.
That, to me, that's just a cheesy way of doing something cheap. Mm-hmm. You get one of those necklaces from the store, you put it on a baton, and you call it a day. But that's not what it is. It's not what it's supposed to be. We as tatas have a che. No different than you as a yaya have a che. Okay? We have a che in our hands, in our mouths, okay, in our breath. Stuff can be born just from our breath, our aliento. We have to be able to make this stuff ourselves.
Right.
Because by doing it ourselves, we're imbuing it with that power to help people. And people are not really, they rather go to a store and buy un collar for $21 or $7 or whatever. Well, that's a cheap way out. You're not getting what you need. Besides, how many people have handled it? Absolutely.
So would you say the collar de banderas that a lot of people are wearing is actually taken as a concept from the Orisha practice?
I think in a large extent it is. But I also say that it's not, that even in the Orisha practice, it isn't done correctly. Okay? That necklace should have a lot more to it.
Understandable.
Okay? Also, in the Orisha practice, there's the original practice, the way it was done. The Orisha weren't as nice and clean and pretty as they are today. There was a lot more there than what there is today. So, and I don't want to go into that because I don't got Ocha crowned.
I'm sorry, what is it?
I don't want to go into that because I don't have Ocha crown.
That's okay,
and I don't want to get involved in it. Okay.
We're fine.
But there's a lot there. Yeah, there's a lot there that wasn't the way it is today. Today they want to picture it as beautiful pots with clay, with nice stones, very clean, very, very antiseptic, very beautiful, but not the way it was. Okay, and I say that in all due honesty. An Ogun pot originally was no different than an Nganga. It had bone, it had wood, it had dirt, it had sticks, stones. That's an Nganga.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to hold myself not to say too much, but in essence, a salamandra is an ogun. All right, I mean, like,
You get me?
yeah, I get it. I get
Okay,
it.
but it goes further.
Sorry?
And in Olokun Fa, Olokun from Ifa, even has human bone.
Interesting.
So, who's calling the pot? Who's calling the kettle black now? I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot there.
Hold on. Carlos is asking something. What is it? You went to go get water. Uh-huh. Are you aware of any tratados that speak about a babalao cannot go against the tata or vice versa? Or rather, it should be a tata that does not go against the babalao. Are you aware of any of those tratados?
I'm sure that there's an Odu somewhere that'll say that. Okay. But I think it's more the interpretation of the Odu.
Okay.
More than anything else, because at the end of the day, I think that out of all the 256 Odu, there's only one or two where a babalao is supposed to be initiated in Palo. The rest of them, they're not supposed to work it at all.
Right.
Like Oturanico. Oturanico is allowed, he's the El Capataz de los Muertos. He's allowed to work a pot, but he can't initiate anybody on it.
Right.
Ofumbile can initiate people, but it's very, very gray area as far as how he can teach them and everything else, because his true practice is Ifa.
So my question is, these oduns that you're speaking about, are these oduns that were created in Cuba?
They were part of the 256 Odun. I don't know if they were created in Cuba. I believe they were created before.
You know what I'm trying to say? Because
the
Nigerians went to the Caribbean. They went to Cuba.
Yeah, but I don't doubt.
They created more oduns because there was no Nganga, right, in Africa.
No, hold on. They had what they called an Egungun cult, which died off, and that was in Ifa their version of an Nganga. The Egungun pot was a calabash, a huge calabash that they were building no different than an Nganga, and they would initiate them on those Egungun pots.
Interesting. But
where did they learn that from? Because I don't think they had that secret. Also, the initiations and the scratchings on Odun, I don't think they had that secret either.
Right.
I think they also grabbed that from Palo and decided to initiate people on that. And then they say that Odun is, the head muerto, blah, 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 whatever. But, there's so much stuff there that is mixed. You don't know where it begins or where it ends.
Yeah.
For me, personally, Palo's Palo and Ocha's Ocha. Separate the two and you're fine.
Exactly.
Well,
because there shouldn't be that mixture.
Not with Ifa. Now, if you had someone that came to you that was gravely sick, would you send them off to get crowned, or would you be able to find a way to heal them in Palo?
I'd find a way to heal them in Palo.
Okay, it's just a question. Because
no.
Hear...
Hey, let's put it this way. I've had people come to me with problems with their kidneys, for instance. This is just an example. I had a lady recently. She told me she's in stage 3 kidney failure. I gave her the recipe that I use for that, which is coffee grounds and orange peels. Drink it in ayuna in the morning before you have anything else. You boil it, you filter it, you drink it hot. It's not going to taste good, but it's going to reactivate your kidneys. Remember that we as paleros were not only paleros, we were yerberos. We were the ones that had the cure. We had the medicine from the woods themselves to turn around and help cure people.
Exactly.
Okay? So that idea that, no, I'm going to send them somewhere else to get a cure. No, there is no place else to get a cure. The medicine's here. You know? People don't understand that.
We're
Now,
root workers.
if
Well,
there's,
the thing is that
yeah,
you hear a lot of, tatas or yayas. I suppose it might be, and I say this respectfully to anyone that's watching, it can be that they may lack knowledge and immediately want to send them to go
absolutely.
get crowned in Santeria, let's say. Whereas we have Cubayende, do we not? Right?
Exactly.
So
We have Cubayende, we have Patanyaga, we have, Patanyaga and Cubayende are the same. Mind you, it's just two different names.
yeah.
Marroquina, same thing. We have, for different issues, because that's dealing with issues with the bones. You want to deal with issues with circulation, Mama Calunga, Madre Agua. You want to deal with issues of the woman's reproductive organs, Chola Wengi. You want to deal with issues of a man that has problems with impotency. You go to Salavanda or you go to Ensasi.
Exactly.
Each one has their purpose. They have problems with their head. You go to Tiembla Tierra. Each one has their purpose, but people don't understand that you got to be able to work with them, and you have to have the H to be able to work with all these entities. It's not a matter of, I got a Siete Rayo, I'm going to do everything on Siete Rayo. No. You got to be able to pull that energy and work with that energy to help that person. If not, then you know what? You can't do anything for them. Pass them along to somebody else.
So basically, you're saying that you've never had to send someone to go get crowns, that you were able to handle everything the way you were in your
I've handled it the way I've had to handle it. Now, I've had people that have come to me that their issues aren't spiritual, aren't health related.
Yeah.
Their issues, they have to go to the Pio de Oricha. And I've sent them. You know what? This is your path. That's what's best for you. Go over there.
Exactly.
Porque let's face it.
Not everyone belongs in the path of Palo, and that's very important to read.
Absolutely. Like for instance, the guy that came to me to find out if he could get initiated, he would have been fine in Ocho with Eric. He could have been Eric's godson right now. He would have been good. But they decide they want to turn around, they want to jump ahead and do stuff that they're not supposed to do. When they get pop out, then it's on them.
That's funny. Well, it was really a pleasure speaking to you today. Very nice meeting you.
It's a pleasure too. Very nice meeting you too.
If there's any last questions, because I'm getting hungry and I feel like having ribs.
I don't disagree with you.
Now, I started reading real quick. I started reading your book. You want to mention the book that you have out there?
Yeah, talk about the book real quick.
Yeah, hold on a second. I'm trying to. I was looking to see if I can see the questions. I can't even see the questions here. I can't scroll.
Ribs.
Eric's making pasta.
I'm going for ribs.
Okay, so see, I've been a chef for over 30 years. There's not much that I don't know how to cook, and it's funny because I moved up to West Virginia a while ago. I moved up to West Virginia, and I lived in West Virginia for 5 years. It was my spirits. I asked them where they wanted to go. They wanted me to leave Miami, and they told me West Virginia. So I get up in West Virginia, and I have nothing else that I could do now to be able to get animals. I was surrounded by white people. And if I went to go get animals to kill on my pot, I had to use an excuse. So I would go to, let's say, Larry to get goats. And I would tell Larry, I want a nice goat that is healthy because I have some people that are coming in. I'm doing a catering for them. And they want a good goat for dinner. So he gave me a boar goat. And then my godchildren will make the joke of, the last one, you can barely fit it in the pot. And I'm here looking at him, shut up. Shut up, leave it alone. Yeah.
Boy, what you want to do with that goat?
Oh, yeah. But let's face it, being a cook, I could cover that. I could turn around and do what I need to do. And I didn't have an issue. You know? So you were asking about the book.
Yes, I started reading the book. It's a lot of good. I think it's more story.
Yeah.
Than tratados and stuff like that, which is
of course
more based on your sayings in your story.
Yeah.
So you want to go ahead and mention the book?
It's Seeking the Spirits of Palo Kimbiza. And I wrote it in my pseudonym at the time. I didn't write it with my name. I wrote it as Tata Rodriguez. That's not my name.
Okay.
And the other author is Sophia Kelly Schultz. But that book's on Amazon. It's a good book. It gives you an idea of, from an Anglo perspective, coming into a Cuban Palo household, because that's what she is. She's an Anglo-American, an Irish Catholic, as she would say, coming into my house. And she was faced with everybody in the house spoke Spanish, and she didn't. But so that was the constant butt of the joke. But you know, the stuff that she got to see while she was there, she doesn't go really, really in depth with tratados or anything like that, because that's not to be talked about. You know, but it was a story of just a basis of what it is, Palo, and to give people a better understanding that Palo isn't all about. It isn't all about war. You know, yeah, you do war. Let's face it, you do get into wars with people, but it's not about that. It's about family.
Healing.
It's about balance, healing. Absolutely. But it should be about family, you know? And what better place, what speaks better to a family and to healing and everything else than the table? La mesa, the place where you sit down and eat, you know? That was our biggest thing, because we as a family, we would get together, sit down and eat, share a meal, and have a conversation. Convivisaura.
Yeah.
You know? Convivisaura. Yeah. Tú sabes, that was the key there, Pa. Is the convivisaura, because that's where we'll get everybody together and join. And everybody will get together, sit down and share a meal. You know? That's the way it should be. Not the way it is in today's day and age.
Oh, no, now everything's war, war. You know?
Yeah, I don't got time for all that.
Stay in peace.
Yeah. I don't got time for that. And if I'm gonna turn to that, I'm gonna turn in Doki. I don't want to go in Doki.
Hey, you know? Sometimes people need to know.
Oh yeah, they do. I know. I've had a couple like that. I've had a couple of people like that have turned me that way, and then when I've turned that way, they say, "Oh, you're mean." Well, yeah, isn't that what you wanted? You know? Yeah.
So, what about a part 2? Are you down for it?
Ooh,
yeah, sure, I'm down for it.
More deep.
Of course.
Stuff. Plus the dogs are getting impatient already now. They wanna
I see it. I
want to be in that video too.
That dog's almost about the size of the ribs I eat.
What is it?
That dog is almost about the size of the ribs I eat.
You need to see this one. This one's a big boy.
Oh, okay.
Say hi.
Qué lindo, man.
I'm always about the small things, small little dogs. She's like, no, I want the big and stuff. I'm like, no, I'm on little chihuahuas. I'm happy with it. Anything that's tiny.
Yeah, me. I understand.
If it's bigger than me, I don't want
it. Literally what he said to me, but I had the dog already.
Oh, wow.
Anyway.
So yeah, I'm here. It's a pleasure.
Likewise.
You know, feel free to reach out to me. Let me know when you guys want to do it again. I'll be more than happy to get together.
Yes.
You know, and definitely we're gonna have to get together sooner or later, because we got a lot of stuff to share.
Nice.
You know.
And you also do lives where you're doing readings too, right? The oracles. Yeah. I do oracle readings on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. So you guys welcome to follow him. Do you do general readings, or you offer readings for people too? Like, I do offer individual readings apart from the actual lives, because that's usually more intense, bro. And I go an hour to 2 hours on a reading. So I tell them, $75 for a reading of an hour to 2 hours. You know, when they're on the live, we're sitting here and we're doing Tata's Happy Hour Oracle. I pull out a bottle of rum. I tell them $7 for a 1-card pool, $14 for a 3-card pool, or $21, and Tata takes the shot.
and then does a 3-card pull. Of course, with the rum is better because spirits like spirits.
Yes.
You know?
I could do that too. Hey, $10 chamalongo, one chamalongo.
Absolutely. Why not? You know? I do a $7 shell throw. So if they have a question that they want to ask yes or no, I'll throw the shells for them. You know? But they're only going to get yes or no. They're not going to get in depth.
Mm.
You know? They want to get in depth, they got to do a reading. And it is what it is, and I tell them that.
Yeah, a lot of people want to skip that where they say, well, I just want to know if I belong into Palo and stuff, and just let me know yes and no without trying to get the reading, and then they end up going for the cheaper way, where somebody just goes, oh yes, the spirit says yes, let me scratch you, and then they find out they had nothing to do with this because they're out there for the cheap way and not get that reading.
Of course. Well, that's when you turn around and you tell them, no, this is not your path. Well, how about if it is? No, I don't feel it. Well, so yeah, that's what we do it.
Yes, we're gonna save the life. Someone's asking.
You betcha.
It was my pleasure speaking to you and thanking you.
Same here, Papa.
For giving us knowledge.
Same here.
And I say it again, anybody who wants to come here, you can let me know. Tell us about your story. I don't care if you have knowledge or you don't have knowledge. If you want to just share what you think, you're welcome to contact me and we can set it up and we could do it. Even if, like I said, you guys had our we had differences. When it comes to knowledge, we have to get out there together and put some things out there.
Yeah, we do. We definitely do. And I don't think there should be any differences, man. You know, we should be able to work past that and understand that we as a community have enough fucking people against us that we shouldn't be fighting amongst ourselves. Okay? Let's face it. There's plenty of babalaos out there that want to do us all in. Okay? There's plenty of fucking people out there that'll say, oh no, those guys are all voodoo practitioners. Okay? No, that's not about that. We should be able to all get together and work together towards a better goal. We should be able to proceed and get ahead. And pull our community ahead with it.
Palo has gotten a bad reputation because mostly it's our fault as practitioners for making it seem something it's not.
It is. Because yes, but you know why? Think about it. If they're afraid of you, they don't fuck with you. They leave you alone and you can do what you got to do. You know? So I understand it. I understand the idea behind it. I, at times, don't really want to have to deal with people.
We need a happy
You know? We do. Yeah. We do. But that comes in working within the community, working with each other.
Hey, Paddy,
you know?
The santeros do brujeria, they don't talk about it.
You know? Exactly.
The babalaos, even they're not supposed to do it, they're doing brujeria, they don't talk about it.
Bro, if you ever decide to come up to Stewart, I got some notebooks to show you.
We should take a trip up there.
You ever come to Stewart, me and you will sit down. I'm going to show you the notebooks that I have tratado de Ifá, okay, de Inche o Sign. Okay, you're going to sit there and go, that's fucked up. Damn, that's fucked up.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're supposed to be medicine men. Far from it. Chapping women.
Far from it.
You know.
Of course.
To be honest.
Of course. You know, I've seen it left and right.
Yeah. I was just reading the comment there.
Well, it was a pleasure, like I said. We'll do a part 2.
You bet, Papa.
And maybe we could get together, all 3 of us. I'll find out a way we could. I think we could through here. I'll find out. We could bring Eric Colon, you, and other guests all together in one camera.
That'd be great, man. That'd be great.
Can you get 4 people in the?
You know, I don't know. I don't know if we can get Eric on here.
Try it.
Let me see. Somebody asked to request and join the video. Let's try it out. Who's out there?
Well, that's Eric. Are you available?
Somebody sent a request to join. See if they let us pop up. Let's find out. I mean, I could go up there. Anybody? Just it doesn't matter if it's a lady. Doesn't matter. I don't care if you have your hair or stuff. I just want to know. Let's try it out. Anybody can request to join this live.
My scrolling has stopped, so I don't know.
It stopped. It's frozen on your end. See, there's a request.
Go ahead.
See, is that him? What was that? Is that him? Yeah.
Just put Eric. If it kicks you out, we'll see.
This would be interesting.
What the hell's going on?
There you go.
There,
Then we
see?
forget.
Look at that.
What? Where's Eric's there too?
How you
I
doing?
can't see him. I don't know.
You
Where's,
can't see him? Okay.
No,
Yeah,
I
I
don't see
can't
Eric.
see him.
I see you. We see you. I see
Yeah,
Eric. I
see
see
you.
you. Yeah, we see you.
How about the viewers? Can you see Eric? They should be able to.
I don't know. I can't.
Probably.
I don't see
Well,
this
we
thing
have like a few
scrolling.
people that are. Yeah, they see.
Can you hear Eric though?
Yes, can you
No.
hear me?
Yeah.
Ah, cool. I'm
Wow,
over here
there's
just
the two
making
of us. There you
some.
go. Maybe you just have to reset your phone.
I'm making
Yeah,
some.
I'm looking.
No, I want my ribs.
When you come up here, I'll
Well,
show
my
you a place
stomach's
that
so
makes
small,
good
I
ribs.
can only eat like half a rib.
He
But,
can hear Eric.
Who you can't hear it?
No,
He can't hear me?
Oh,
I can't hear him at all.
It's because are we frozen to you?
No,
No,
not
you
at
guys, I
all.
see you guys fine. I don't
Not
see
at all.
him.
You want me
You
to?
don't see-
I'll back out.
because
I'll
he's
back
on
out
your
and see if I
side.
come back in again.
Oh, that's so weird.
Come back
Yeah.
in again.
Yeah.
Yancy?
Yeah. Why
Let me
don't
see.
you exit?
All right, let me
Okay.
see.
And then come. No, not you, Eric. Yancy. So that way he can
Okay.
come back in.
No, hold on.
Yeah, definitely.
Look at this. We got the fan bam back
Let's see.
there.
See if Yancy requests again. Let's just find out. I mean, the only way we find out if we do it. I mean,
Yeah, we
we're
have
doing
to
it live.
try.
But,
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Okay, there's a request. There we go.
There you go. So I see you were giving some knowledge too as well, Eric. Thank you for that. Putting out stuff.
Oh, no worries.
Oh,
There you
okay.
go.
Now I see Eric.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
Danny!
There you
Could
go.
you hear each other?
How you doing? I hear him.
All right. Ese tipo un diabólico, cuidado con él.
He's dead of the Oh, there you go. So we could do an interview like that with all of us together. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good. Yeah, that'll be good.
It'd be awesome.
I know Brody for a very long time.
20 years.
Yeah,
It's been 20 years,
20
man.
20 years.
Okay.
You know, but it's been good
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah, man.
We've had some crazy
You know?
stuff, you know?
And it's funny because, when you say that, hey, two people from different lines, and we still, Eric will tell you, God forbid, if he ever has a problem, I'd always have his back.
Yeah.
Okay?
Same here.
No doubts whatsoever.
Same here.
It goes back
Guys,
and
I'm
forth.
going to have to get off because the wife is calling. All right?
Cheyenne, don't
All right,
forget about
Bob.
the yaya here.
I'm gonna get off for a second. I'll be right back on. Hold on.
Okay.
All right.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I've known Eric over 20 years, about 20 years now. And, we have treaties done that most people don't know. We've been friends that long. Nothing comes between us.
Nice.
What problems he has are my problems. My problems are his problems. If he's got an issue, we go and we resolve it. It's not an issue. But that's few people that you can actually say that with.
Yeah.
Yep.
all right, well,
But that's the way it's supposed to be.
let's set it up then. Now that we can do that, where the next interview will be all four of us here. And that means
That'd be
you
good.
can join from your phone too, and we don't have to be like.
Hey, I like sitting with you.
All right.
All right. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure,
talking to
Papa.
you. Let's see when we could do this interview. Then now I
You
also,
bet.
if somebody requests to give knowledge while we're doing that, I could also invite them to give, if they have any questions, they can do it live now.
That's fun. That would be really great.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, and you have a very, very blessed day, and enjoy
You
your
too. You have a
dinner.
wonderful night, you
Fabulous,
guys.
darling.
Yeah. Enjoy the ribs. Enjoy the ribs.
I will. I'm going for ribs. All right, guys.
All
Take
right.
care.
Thank you all for joining
You guys
us
take care.
and being a part of this live. I hope that what we talked about cleared some things and helped you out. You all have a blessed day.
Blessed
Yep.
evening.
Que seamos los locutores por mucho más semana. Digo, con carne, con chinchila. ¿Ok? Se me cuidan.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Are you sure? Yes. And